God damn it, Josh. God damn it, Josh.
I'm too good, man.
You're too good by going as slow as possible, Josh. Welcome to Murder Moose, part of the Slash and Cast Podcast Network. I'm Rod, and with me, of course, is Josh. What's up, dude?
Hey, I'm Josh.
You are indeed Josh. We're teaching him his name this week, everybody. So you give him some time.
Josh.
I, Josh. I, robot. I don't fucking know.
Gobble, gobble, motherfucker.
Gobble, gobble, motherfucker.
So I took that clip from a YouTube clip of that happening, and I was like, I got it, and it was so fucking low. I had to raise it up, I think, as much as Audacity will raise audio up. It went up like plus 36 or something, insane decibels or something. It was a massive volume increase.
There's
just
so many B movies like this have to have like quotable lines like that, like over the top shit, like gobble gobble, motherfucker. If that wasn't in it, that's the selling line of this whole movie, and the fact that it's like fucking puppet and everything, which is hilarious. And there's a lot of good and a ton of just terrible about this movie. So I can't wait to get into it.
Nice tits, bitch. Is the one.
Best line. That's when Kissy looked over at me and was like, "You got to stop letting him fucking pick movies."
You know what?
I'm like, come on. This is amazing.
It's for Thanksgiving. And it's for Thanksgiving. We're doing holiday-themed things.
By the way, everyone, my wife fucking hated this movie. Hated it. And I loved it.
I was telling Josh before when we were getting ready, I was like, yeah, my wife walked in. There's a scene with this turkey puppet fucking a girl. And my wife walked in and she's like, what the fuck are you watching? And it was like ashamed that she was married to me, kind of like effect at that point. It was like, I married someone who's watching.
Is that the first time that's happened? Because if that's the first
No,
time.
No, it's not the first time. But I mean, we've been married like 11, almost 12 years. So it's like, yeah, it happens probably once a year at this point. But
there's this weird thing with this movie, though. Like the bigger character with the goatee, he is a spitting image of my late friend Isaac, who he's no longer with us. And it was just freaking me out the entire movie because it looked like a younger, like smaller version of my buddy Isaac. And I'm like, what the fuck? It was just fucking with me the entire time.
Yep. Yeah. We are talking about, by the way, we'll mention it before we like ramble off too much. We're talking about Thankskilling this week. It's from 2009, directed by Jordan Downey, who also did Headhunter on Netflix, or on Shudder, which is awesome. Trying to get Josh to go watch that at some point, but
and Thankskilling 3.
And I haven't seen that one because that one got shit on real bad. But it's funny. I was telling Josh that 2 other podcasts on the network, Scream Queens and the Conjecturing podcast, all did this movie this week, and I'm laughing my ass off. And I'm like, I bet we're gonna be the dirtiest of all of them this week with it, but maybe not. I don't know. Those girls on the Scream Queens can get rowdy, so it's okay. But me and Cece were DMing after, like, when we were talking about when we were recording it. We're just like, I was throwing lines at her, and she's like, "What?" I'm like, "No, that's when this says it." And it's like, "Oh," and it's funny because all the lines are so like, I was like slinging her lines like while I'm watching it because they're all so ridiculous in this movie that it's fucking hysterical, and it's just so.
Nice tits,
so it's a
bitch.
Nice tits, so bitch. Yeah, I mean, this movie is so insane, and I don't think we're gonna do it like a real spoiler.
Well, to be honest, until the turkey gets there, this movie is just fucking terrible. Like it is just bad. Like the turkey is what makes it all work because he is so over the top and everything he says is so fucking funny. Yeah. But without him, it just is. It's bad on purpose, though, and I don't know. The
it's
act.
basically we usually, because we do a lot of movies that are kind of like newer and because of independent little things, but like this one is, like I said, this is from 2009, so it's an older movie, and it's been on Amazon Prime for forever. But probably not doing it as much of a spoiler-free movie. If you like review it, this movie is insane. If you like schlocky B horror movies, you should watch it. So that's like, I think, my kind of thing, because this movie is bonkers, and doing a spoiler-free review is not really worth it.
It's so, because I didn't know when it came out, and I didn't watch. Well, obviously didn't watch anything. That's just my new trend. I'm not watching trailers or anything. I just saw the poster and read that it had boobs in the first minute, or first second rather. And then you see the boobs, and they're on screen gratuitously long as well. And they're just like big, massive jugs too. So they're just like taking up the whole screen.
After our spiral incident, I wanted to make sure that we were on the right
move. Yeah, I like that. I like that you did that.
Because I don't know what other movies are called Thankskilling at this point, and I'm not even worth it. But like, this,
I'm sure
I sent Josh just the poster of the turkey, and I'm like, gobble gobble, motherfucker, and I'm like, yep, that will do it. We're just like,
gobble gobble, motherfucker.
So I'm gonna see how many times we can play
too. Like just the easy things that they did themselves. Like it reminds me of what my buddy would put together. Well, for like our 48-hour film challenges and stuff. But it's so Andy and, I love that.
Andy and Brian had Jordan on their Dead in Santa Carla last year, and I think that this was like a student film for Jordan while he was in school, and I think he spent he borrowed cameras and shit from his film department,
I love that,
and spent $3,000 or something like that, and it's just like, I mean, you can completely tell. And what I really love about this movie though is that like you said, they didn't try to be serious with it at all. None of the actors are all over the top, and it just is. The first time I saw this, I watched it right around the time Andy and Brian did the review last year, and I was like, huh? And I think I was in a weird mood when I watched it the first time, and this time I liked it, but this time I'm just laughing my ass off the whole time because the one-liners and everything are so.
The one-liners make it, but like I said, before the one-liners get there, and it's just setting up characters, and that whole fucking opening scene where it's daytime, noon, and nighttime all in one scene. I was like, what the fuck am I watching? Getting into the Jeep and all the bad angles and I was like, oh, what the fuck? And then there's a sunset, and then it's sunny again. I was like, is this one day? What is fucking happening? And that is just really bad filmmaking at that point. But then it gets
you realize real quickly that they did that up. I think that Jordan knew what it was, his budget limits, and he was learning, right? It was this is his first movie, and so there's a lot of that. So there's a lot of learning, and it's just a cheap ass movie. But those opening scenes,
it adds to the aesthetic of it.
Yeah.
And without that and all those inconsistencies and stuff, it wouldn't have. It's almost turns into The Room type stuff, where it's because you can't try to make it that bad on purpose, and the genuine feeling that The Room has, this has as well. So it all works because it's so over the top and so genuinely hilariously over the top the entire time.
Yeah, if you go back and listen to that interview that those guys did with Jordan, it's you can tell Jordan just fucking loves movies, and that's why I said it's he loves horror movies, and he talked about, I think, in a lot in that interview, how much he grew up loving things like Critters and shit like that, and just that schlocky kind of 80s horror movie that there was. I mean, the 80s, there was so much horror.
He made a Critters movie in 2014.
Yeah, he made a short, a fan film, which is got a lot of actual positive credit. And he was trying to get the people to let him do a Critters movie.
Cool.
Yeah, and I don't think it ever worked. But
There's one
So
Critters, a new binge in 2019.
yeah, it was one that was like direct to DVD or Blu-ray or something that like came out last year. It's funny because I recently watched Critters for the first time, the original, and that movie does not hold up very well, and I had never seen it at all. And
I
it's
love.
like,
Well, you can tell that it imprinted on him, right? Like
yeah,
the '80s style puppet, like
yeah,
it just imprints on,
yeah,
and that aesthetic, and that like he needed to continue that, like
yeah.
down that path, and that's
I
it's
I mean,
really awesome, and I love it.
you do that movie in 2009, Thankskilling, and you're going, well, I don't have money for CGI. I don't have anything that was like that. It was just like him getting some buddies to act for him for like a couple days of making a movie and like
It was,
having a script that's just. I think he voiced the turkey. If I could be wrong, maybe he didn't, but like it's so ridiculous how good it is, and it
it felt
it's
so
a
2009. After I found out that it was filmed in 2009, I was
yeah
like, holy fuck, that is so 2009. Like
yeah
so
yeah
2009. Now that I know that,
it's
like by the end of
yeah
the movie, I was like, fuck. And I love
it's
knowing it now because it is like a time warp to 2009. It's amazing.
it reminds me a lot of how like we talked about watching I Know What You Did Last Summer and like Urban Legend, like those are so late 90s, like
Yeah.
they're like that post Scream era, like this is what a slasher was at this point. And this movie is kind of like, yeah, it's got the slang and shit, man. It makes me laugh because even like that opening scene at the college reminds me of like Dawson's Creek or something like that. Like, that would have been like
Yeah,
going
yeah.
on in like in the 2000s or whatever. And so there's so much of it. It's just like, man, this movie is just like, yeah. And
But that's what I
it's
love
just,
about like the art of filmmaking in general. If you look at what movies are made year to year, and the like
yeah,
this how the world around it is, and what is on TV and what's happening in the world that influences the
yeah,
decisions that writers and filmmakers and everything make year to year,
yeah,
is really cool to see the trends and what
yeah.
is influencing the creatives of that time and stuff.
Yeah, I think that like horror is an underrated outlet for social commentary too, right? Because people I think
Not
just give it
anymore
oh,
with like Jordan Peele
yeah,
and stuff. Like they're doing great
yeah,
with that.
but you're right. It's got more of a thing, but like even that, but dude, you go back to, you see this all the time. You talk about the original Night of the Living Dead, and George Romero has said repeatedly, he's not with us anymore, that the main character, who was a black actor, wasn't cast because he was a black actor. He was
He
cast
was the
because
best.
He was the best actor, right?
Yep.
But you even
He
do that.
knew
You
what
watch
he
a
was
movie,
fucking doing. He knew what he
yeah,
was fucking doing, and he was trying to push the
and
envelope, and he did. And he
yeah.
that good, fucking good for him, man.
I mean, George Romero, so funny hearing him. It was so funny hearing him say that because then the motherfucker made Dawn of the Dead, which is a self-proclaimed like view of buying, what's it called, like
Consumerism.
consumerism in
Yep.
America. Yeah, consumerism in America. And you're like, the Night of the Living Dead, that was not a social commentary, but no,
It was
Dawn of the Dead was.
100%. It was 100%.
Yeah,
But he couldn't say anything
yeah,
about it at the time
yeah.
because then
Yep.
it would have
Yep.
been, yeah. Like you don't want to
Yeah,
attach too much, right?
yeah. There's racism in the civil rights movement in the late '60s, because that movie came out in what, '69 or '68, whatever it was. So it was right in the middle, like all that stuff, and so that man just did a lot. And you point out Jordan Peele, and Jordan Peele's the obvious one these days, but I feel like there's so many opportunities for these type of movies to sit there and make commentary about stuff. Not that Thanksgiving
Yeah,
makes
but now that
commentary or anything,
Hollywood
but
has taken note of different production models for horror is now being taken more seriously because
yeah,
the mass like audience has accepted that model, It's like, oh,
Yeah.
movies can be made in the horror genre for $2 to $9 million, and they can still be good. Whereas before in the 80s, everyone was like throwing fucking 20, 30 million or at movies, like all the studio fucking horror movies, right? Now you can make a profit off of fucking nothing. So horror is being taken in a whole bunch of different directions.
Yep. But this movie is, you can just tell the Thankskilling has just made a movie about a guy who wanted to make a movie. I think the whole
but that's the love of it, and I think that's why. It doesn't matter how bad these type of movies are in the end. I will always have like this weird place in my heart for like every kind of movie done like this, because it is just pure love of filmmaking all over it, and you see it in every person. They're there eating shitty pizza at fucking 2 a.m, and they're they all just like took work off for fucking 2-3 weeks or whatever to make this happen, and I love that so much more. And man, these are like
I remembered the movie, but as I was rewatching it, like on Sunday, I think I rewatched it, I'm like, holy fuck, Josh, this movie is so up Josh's alley because of like the whole indie, like the do-it-yourself everything about this movie. And it's so we'll go over. I mean, we're not not going to do it non-spoiler free, but the movie opens up with as you said, big old jugs, and it's a pilgrim woman running away from what you don't know what it's the most ridiculous outfit ever. It's like this pilgrim outfit, but like it's made so her giant boobs hang out. It's not like they're ripped off. And she's running away, and you figure out real quick, like she was a porn star. I forget what her name was, but like you see her name in the credits. But you figure out she's running from this turkey, and as Josh said, it is a hand puppet that is terrible. It's just like a rubber cast of a turkey that they can put a hand in and go, because this thing's talking the other time.
But and that song was so good with the like in the background and stuff. The like the techno song with it was fucking great.
Yeah, it's very like that's more of like they just like done by themselves kind of stuff, right?
So good though.
Yeah. And the turkey catches up to her and he's like, nice tits, bitch, and then he murder kills her. But I don't think they show that as and so then they go 500 years in the future, in like the modern times, like 2009, and it's like these college students who are going out for Thanksgiving break, and they're like, and it's just like over the top. Like the one guy's like, oh, you're the backup quarterback for the Trojans or Titans. I think their school name was the Titans or something like that. And the acting is all like so funny, and it's like, because it's so like stiff and almost like homoerotic at the same time, which is like on purpose, but like
it's just like a backyard fucking bonfire of dudes just having beers. Like that's the whole like vibe of the script and everything like that. Do you like metal and like metalcore, that type of stuff at all?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Do I like it?
Yeah. Do you? Well, yeah.
Okay, I do. Yeah. I thought you said, does he like it? And then I realized what you actually said.
This whole like the vibe of this movie and the character all reminds me of Necrogoblicon. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
I've heard of them. I don't know how much of their stuff I've heard, but
they're so rad because it was like this. But this is the type of movie that would create a band like that, right? Like the whole band was just created as like this thing, and they had this character, and now they make these short films of the goblin character like doing things, and that's like their videos for every song. It's like this crazy goblin going around like killing people and stuff, but it's done so funny and so well, and the songs are actually really fucking good. I don't know. Check out Necrogoblicon, seriously. If you like Thankskilling and this vibe of anything and heavy music, Necrogoblicon, you're gonna fucking love them.
Yeah, it sounds cool. I would be down for that. I think I've heard some of their stuff, like I said, but I get into weird patterns with that kind of music.
Well, same, because like
Yeah.
it's so good, and it all sound like, especially their stuff, it's all very similar.
Yeah. Yeah. They
So
but it makes me laugh because like you get all 5 characters, whatever it is. It's the 2 guys or 3 guys, and then the 2 girls are the characters, right? And the main female character, I said this to Cece, I was like, reminds me of like generic Brie Larson. Does it mean it's like generic Brie Larson?
Yes. But
and I'm like, oh my God. But they're going home and
especially with the one note like acting from everyone too. But
yeah.
you just you have to come with me.
Yeah.
But I don't want to. But you have to. Okay.
The best part of this whole movie, my 2 favorite scenes are when the turkey like
don't worry about
impersonates things and people and just is just the most ridiculous scenes in the world. But,
oh, hi, Dad. Why didn't you tell him about the turkey? Because I didn't want him to freak out. And he's just wearing the face of a dad. Fuck.
Yeah, that scene is I think it's probably the funniest scene in the whole movie. Maybe like whatever the sex scene, but yeah. So these kids
fucking, that was just, when they went that far with it, I was like, okay, you win now. You've won. Like without that, like, or not even without that, but like that is the cherry on top that I needed to solidify that this is actually like the whole package that you're doing works now. It's I'm
100% in. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's so perfectly over the top that you're like, okay, they're doing it. Oh
yeah.
They're having fun, too much fun, and that's good.
Yeah,
that's really, really good.
Yeah. These 5 kids hop into this Jeep and they're going, and they're going home, and their Jeep somehow breaks down, although then the next day they just are fine. They drive away. And they're like,
let's
they build a camp.
Yay, camping.
Yeah. Well, the funny part is that the turkey has to wake up because it's whatever, and the way the turkey wakes up is this like redneck who lives in a shack. Like his dog pees on a totem. They have like, it looks like a Toys R Us totem of something, and like that they found like a Vatiki or something, and this dog pisses on it, and it wakes the turkey up, and then the turkey kills the guy's dog, and like it's like his like mission to like revenge his dog for killing getting killed by the turkey. I mean, of course, if someone came after Gizmo, I'm coming after him. And so yeah, so the kids, their car breaks down, and they're like telling campfire stories. And my favorite scene in the like, they're in the Jeep going home, and the nerdy kid, it's like it's like speeches from like Road Trip. The nerdy kid's like, I'm gonna have sex with one of you in this car. And he's like, he doesn't care. He's just like, I'm gonna have sex with one of you in this car.
And there's only one girl.
there's the 2 girls. There's the slutty girl, and then the Brie Larson looking girl. And but yeah, their car breaks down, and they have a fire, and the nerdy dude is like telling them the story of the turkey, when supposedly like the turkey's like this urban legend in this like universe, or and they're like, oh, you're ridiculous, don't stop trying to scare us. And like a killer turkey is scaring you guys. And the one character, the Brie Larson girl, goes out and she sees the turkey, and no one believes her. They're like giving her shit the whole time. They're like, yeah, okay, girl, whatever you say.
And then that guy has to sleep overnight without a tent.
Yeah. But yeah, and then he wakes up, and the redneck's there, and he's like, scares him, and he's like, what are you doing? He's like, protecting you. Well, the turkey tried to kill you. And there's like kibbles or something on his chest.
No, it's like marshmallows and shit.
He's like, the turkey took a dump on your chest or whatever. He's like, and it's just like,
I believe her now.
Yeah, I believe her now, but I didn't want to say anything. Yeah, they then their car works again, and they're driving home, and
No.
they all get home.
No. You left out the best part, man. He opened it up and jiggled the wire, and they did a close up of him jiggling the wire, and that's what made it work. Why didn't you just jiggle that wire the night before, man? The jiggle of the wire was what did it all. He's like, I got it. It turns on. That was the type of shit in the movie that reminded me of The Room. Like the jiggling of the wire and shit. It reminded me of them just going and playing football in the field for no fucking reason. Shit.
Yeah. Well, there's other scenes that remind me of The Room, like the next kill. I think kind of reminds me of it. So they get in the cars, and the girl, the Brie Larson character, calls her dad, and he's like, "Hey," and like right before she calls, like the dad is sitting there, who's like a sheriff, and he's like drinking coffee, and he's like, "This, by the way, with the worst mustache I've ever seen in anything." And I love it. It's like literally the worst mustache.
Because it goes with the plastic sheriff badge on his hat and his shirt as well. So like the trio of all three of those things, I was like, okay, their budget for costumes was dollar store, so love it again because I do the same.
The guy's sitting there and he's like, "This coffee tastes like shit." And then this woman comes in and she's like, "Because it is." And there's just like a fake plastic turd in the coffee pot. And she's like, "And I'm leaving you." And like, then like the daughter calls and he's like, "Are you going to come to the dance tonight? The father-daughter dance?" I'm like, "What are you fucking talking about?" And then he's like, "Oh, by the way, your stepmama left me." And it's like, oh my God. It's so hysterical.
That's where Kissy just checked out completely. She's just like, this is fucking the worst shit ever.
Oh my God. You have to embrace what this movie was trying to do. So then they get back to their houses, and this is like, it's the quarterback goes home, and he's like, to his dad, who doesn't talk to him anymore because he's not the starting quarterback anymore.
This is the scene that you told me about, where they're just laying it on so thick out of fucking left field. You're the best son ever. That's totally The Room-esque vibe, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're getting at?
He's like, he doesn't want to talk to him, and then he goes, "Hey, Dad, I'm the starting quarterback again." And he's completely lying to his dad, and his dad's like, "I love you now, son. Like, I didn't love you until you did this." And oh my God. And they're sitting there, and then the turkey shows up behind and like saws his dad's head off from behind. And then what's the line? He like throws his dad's head to him like a football
catch or something.
Yeah. It's just like, oh my God, because it's just going off of this character being the quarterback of whatever. And
I love how fast all characters forget that all their loved ones in their life died too.
Yeah.
And it's pointed out too.
The quarterback shows up with the other people, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, my dad died." And they're like, "What, really?" "Yeah. No, but by the way, the turkey's real." It's like, what? What?
The tone of everything was so weird and off about like the actual reaction of anything. It was so weird.
Yeah, which is, I mean, because I think they're just embracing.
They're laying it on so thick.
Yeah, they're laying it on.
By that point, I feel like I don't know how it was filmed. I assume it was probably close to like sequential, just because of the type of movie it is and stuff. So I feel like the more they got into the movie, the more they like had the vibe and the feel of the movie down, and probably added way more to it. And I have no clue, but I feel like the more this movie goes on, the more you kind of are getting what they're doing, and I feel like they got more what they were doing as well, and we're just giving it.
I wonder how much of the improvising, or like it was just them getting into characters, they get along with it. But so then what happens? Is this when the slutty girl leaves and goes like to get bone some dude, and she's getting fucked doggy style, and the turkey
Oh yeah.
kills the dude,
Yeah.
and then starts fucking her doggy style, which is one of the greatest scenes in the history of fucking horror movies. And then he like he finishes, and he's like, "You got stuffed, bitch," or whatever he said,
Yeah.
and like kills her. They don't show anything, but it's like, oh my god, "You got stuffed, bitch" is an amazing line. Holy fuck. Oh my god, it's just
This whole
embracing
movie
what
was
it
set
is.
up just for the one line. This whole
Yeah, for
movie's
the one.
pitch was probably a one-liner, and it's like, fuck
Yeah.
yes, we're making it, dude.
We're making this. Gobble gobble, motherfucker. And which is
Done.
uh and so the quarter, I think the girl was gone actually when the quarterback shows up, and they're like, oh, we gotta go get the slutty girl. And they go over to her house, and like nobody's there, and they just walk into the house, which is another thing you never do in horror movies, and yet it happens all the time. They walk into the house, and they find her body, and they find a condom wrapper for an extra small gravy flavored condom.
So specific.
And it's like, oh my fucking god. I feel like the turkey wouldn't have taken time to.
Yeah, he wouldn't have worn a
use
condom because he knew he was killing her after. So
Yeah.
like he
But
wasn't mad.
the
worried about
joke,
that.
I still approve of the joke at this
Yeah.
point. So it's like,
But that's
maybe the
where,
turkey
like,
wore.
a lot of the scenes and a lot of the everything, you could tell they had the punchline before the lead up or something. It was just like this whole scene was just for that one liner, and I approve of that.
It's like the Aristocrats, right? Like the Aristocrats, where it's just like the only thing that is universal about the Aristocrats is the last line of the joke.
Punchline, yeah.
Yeah. And it's everything else can be different and like set up whatever. And it's
It
kind
felt-
of like,
I guess, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's what I can compare it to.
That's actually a
And
really,
so-
really good comparison, to be honest, because it is.
Yeah.
But that's where comedy and horror are
Yeah.
the same. If you can ride that line too, because the payoff of a good joke, it gives the same like output. Well, I don't know. I think a good scare that actually gets the reaction you're going for, I think gets a bigger reaction out of people. But I don't know, man. Like a good belly laugh. Like I don't remember the last time I saw a movie that, or like, you know, the like perfect situation that you're looking forward to a movie, you're seeing it with your friends, it's in a packed theater, it's a comedy, and the laughs are landing so hard that you're missing the next joke because everyone's just like that doesn't happen. When was the last time? Like Superbad was one of the times I remember that, like huge laughs in that movie, man. Like that was fucking,
I was say
too big.
I think of at that point I think of Borat, the original Borat.
Oh,
and
yeah.
When he's chasing the manager naked through the hotel, I think is probably the hardest I've ever laughed in a movie theater, and ever in the theater was losing it because it's like tall, skinny, naked Borat chasing this fat, hairy dude around the hotel, and everyone's just like, "What the fuck is
am I
going
watching?" Yeah, but
because nobody knew who Borat was at this point, and
I like that they do
that's-
that in the second one and show that he's famous and stuff. I didn't know how it was gonna work. He did a good job, man. Like to come out of nowhere with a sequel and still being like, or not still being as famous as he is now. Like to be able to actually go back into any of his characters that started his career, good for him, man.
Well, he did such a good job because he was playing Borat, playing other characters the whole movie, and it's just it's. I would like to see Sasha get into do some horror stuff. That'd be interesting with how good of an actor that guy is. He's like done drama and like him and Hugo. Hugo is an awesome movie if you've never seen it. But he's just a great actor.
Yeah. Well, it's because he's so over the top. That's why he gets the big dramatic roles as well, like the big movies, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So when they figure out the slutty girl got killed, they're like, we need to like figure this out. And they're like, oh, we're gonna go to the library. And they're like, no, it's Thanksgiving. The library's closed, and or it's like the day after Thanksgiving. And so they go to the girl's dad's house, the Brie Larson character, and like before that happens, there's a scene where like the turkey shows up at her dad's house, and all he's like wearing a pair of like fake glass, like one of those big nose glasses, and
Oh yeah.
he wears a joke, and he's like talking to this girl's dad, and he doesn't like he thinks it's a midget, and he's like, or a little person, I should say, and he's like, I say midget because that's the term they use in the scene a whole bunch, and
It was 2009.
yeah, exactly. And the scene is ridiculous, and it's so funny because he's
There's a
like
few
whatever.
things that were written and said in this movie that don't hold the test of time now. That I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, you can't say that shit anymore. Oh, okay, 2009.
Yeah, there. I mean, I think there's a F bomb drop at some point at the beginning of the movie because like
Oh right, yes.
the dudes are like, oh dude, we gotta call each other Fs, and it's just like, it's like, yeah, it's not something I'm like comfortable with anymore. I mean, I grew up calling people that all the time because it was like how I was raised back then, and it's like, and you just grow up and learn things, and yeah,
Yep.
2009 shit does not translate anymore to that kind of stuff. So, so it's the scene's ridiculous, and then he ends up. Do they show him kill him, or because he's the one whose face he wears later on, which is the best scene in the whole movie? But
No, they don't. They have that whole awkward. He comes to the door and he's waiting for his daughter, and then they sit there and have the awkward conversation where he's like drinking the coffee at the table with the dad, which I loved that scene, by the way. It it stops and it's just it is perfectly awkward, and then it's because he's a sheriff and he doesn't want to get caught about being the killer, and I like that they actually gave it a little bit of like tension build and stuff, and then he's just like, I can't take it anymore, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, and he kills it. Yeah, so then the daughter and the friends show up, and they're looking for his library books, and the turkey's running around and has cut her dad's face off and is wearing it like Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs kind of thing. Like he's got this face over his turkey mask. And no one realizes it, and it's gold. It's fucking gold. Everyone's like,
that's the best fucking part of it.
Hey, hi dad, and like whatever, and like we're gonna go do this, and it's
the deep laugh, because that's when like we said before, that's when you know the movie is amazing.
Yeah, and you're like, oh my, because it's actually funny. Like it's the whole, it's like early 90s like slapstick Jim Carrey kind of bullshit, kind of like, it's just so ridiculous. It's like, oh my god, they just embrace this, and like you go, okay, and this is fucking funny.
Movies
just
don't
because
do
of
that
how
a lot anymore, where it's like you and as an audience see through it and go, wait, what the fuck? And then the characters and like what you're seeing and what is actually acted out in front is not the same thing. It's like, wait, but they see that because we see that. What the fuck is going on? Why are they acting dumb? But that's like an old trick.
Yeah, it's the whole like
in the 90s or early 2000s, that was something that was used more often or something.
Yeah, it seems like it was a way more common thing. And they go in and they're like, they don't even realize. So they all go in and they're looking through his books to try to figure out some book about the turkey. And then they find it, which is funny because like in this universe, this like turkey is like raised by some shaman, Indian shaman, Native American shaman that is like, again, they say Indian a bunch because this was 2009. And they're like, oh, okay, so you have to do this ceremony, you have to do it backwards or whatever. Like they don't figure it out right away, but like they find this book about the turkey.
Well, they're like, what else? They had to rip it off from Evil Dead. Come on, it's got to be.
Yeah, they read some seance backwards, basically, right? Is what they do to like get rid of the turkey. And so they're like, okay, we gotta go track down the turkey. And this is when the fat dude leaves, right? He like goes off by himself for some reason. I forget why he does. And the turkey takes the sheriff's shotgun and then pulls a like Halloween 4 and like impales him and shoots the fat dude, and then he drops this line,
Gobble gobble, motherfucker.
Like he shoots him through the thing and then like sticks his head through his stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah. and he's like, "Gobble gobble, motherfucker," and then you're like, "Oh my god!" There's another thing, like they knew that line had to have been like, "Yes, there will be a point where this turkey will say gobble gobble, motherfucker," and he does. So they're down to like they're 3 characters, right? It's just the 3 the girl, the nerd, and the quarterback, and they figure out that the turkey, like the book says, the turkey doesn't like he's either killing one of your friends, which he was killing the fat kid, or he's in his teepee. So the turkey has a teepee, and there's the worst teepee you have ever seen.
It's just
like
a
put
tent.
together in the middle of nowhere.
It was like seriously a tent that had 2 sticks, and then they wrapped it around or something. It wasn't even a teepee. It was like the outer shell of a tent.
Yeah, it didn't look anything like a teepee. And what
Just
they're like gonna rush
too.
in. Yeah, they're gonna rush in, and like they're like, no, you go in the front door, and you get the turkey's attention. It's like the nerdy dude, and they're like, we're gonna go around the back, and I'm like, since when does a teepee have a back entrance, especially this one? But like, they go in and get the turkey's attention, and like try to kill him. Is this when they perform the ritual, right? And they think they kill the turkey.
Oh yeah, and then it gets put into a bin of radioactive goo.
Yeah, and
what are the odds of that, though?
I mean, yeah, exactly. That's a line in the movie. They're like, oh, of course that would never happen. So they go back to the girl's house, and they're like, yeah, we're the guy and the girl, like, he's like, do you want to be my girlfriend now? And she's like, yeah, I'll be your girlfriend. Whatever they say, it's like middle schoolers talking about dating. Honestly, kind of thing.
Because like I got my first like camcorder given to me. It didn't even have like a viewfinder that worked, but I was like in junior high around the times of like I Know What You Did Last Summer and shit coming out, right?
Yeah.
And this is literally that scene on the couch where they're sitting literally way too uncomfortably close to one another, and there's like a couch cushion beside them that's empty. We did shit like that because we didn't like frame it. We were just like kids making movies, and like that whole scene, the terrible writing of it, the terrible acting of it, and the framing and everything, it reminded me so much of the movies I made when I was a kid on the couch. The exact that exact couch and everything. I was like, oh my god, this is giving me like those nostalgic feels of like the DIY shit, but it's so bad.
So yeah, but they actually use it like kind of like cleverly, like, right? That setup is like they're doing the like, would you be my girlfriend kind of thing, and like they start making out, right? And then the nerdy guy is like, I'm gonna go to get a drink, and he goes in the kitchen, and of course the turkey's back, and he's glowing. It's the green. Worst after effect glow effect I've ever seen in a movie, but I love it. The turkey's glowing like radioactive green because he was in the
see the overlay.
Toxic waste.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's like it's just they put this like effect over it, and it's so funny. But like the turkey is like dropping one-liners somewhere, and then pulls the kid's tongue out to death.
Oh right.
Right? He pulls his tongue out, and it's just like he had some like they made some like prosthetic where he would just put it in his mouth.
Good. I appreciate the like detail in the practical effect that was used there. Like his death and the after of his actually the through the stomach was pretty good too. The stuff that they spent the time on was the gags were pretty good. Like the amount of blood they used and all that stuff. They took that seriously. You could tell the horror aspects of this. They wanted to be horrific because the aftermath of him on the floor and the blood splatter and everything, it looked fucking good. It actually looked really, really good.
That's so like he kills him, and then does he like what? I forget what actually even how this finishes out. You're gonna have to drive the end of this, even though I just watched it. But
I just watched it after you.
Yeah, I know. I know that he kills the quarterback, right?
Oh no, it sets it up for a sequel, and it actually says
what?
The last line of the movie is sequel.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's so the turkey kills the quarterback, and then she throws him on the fire. Right? Is that how she kills him?
Yeah.
I don't know how my brain is fried out this badly with this movie, but probably because I've been like off my game all week. But they get rid of the turkey. The quarterback dies. The only person who lives is Brie Larson, the final girl. The final girl.
I like that they did that too. Like that's a.
Yeah.
I was like, if anyone's gonna live, it's gonna be a final girl, and I love that cliche, and I love that horror movies still have that to this day. Nev Campbell coming back for Scream 5 makes me really happy because that. Well, and yeah. Go on.
You mean Scream?
Scream, yeah. I just love Scream.
It's just called Scream. We have
right.
another.
They're doing a Fast and the Furious thing.
I mean, Halloween and everything like that is just called like. It's the new one's called Scream because they're using it as a reboot, kind of like Halloween did. Like it's like 2018.
Craven's dead now and stuff. Yeah, I think that's actually a good. But with the original cast, so I don't know how much I like that because it's kind of confusing then because they're using the same actors and it's the same universe-ish, but how is it a reboot? I don't know. That's kind of confusing.
It's just they just ignore everything is basically what it is. That's what it was. So like Halloween 2018, they're just ignoring. Right, they're not ignoring everything in Scream, but like
they don't have to follow
in Halloween
3, 4, 5, 6, 7 storylines that didn't make any sense and didn't hold true to the originals. Now, like we said before, and like horror is being taken a lot more seriously as the craft and as the art that it actually is, and it's looking to movies like Halloween, where John Carpenter hadn't made any fucking movies before, but he put a John Carpenter's Halloween because he knew what he fucking had was gold, and
he had made one movie. He'd made Assault on Precinct 13,
no one knew
right?
who the fuck he was, right? Like it's not enough to have like your name as like this, I don't know.
Yeah. It's you don't see that even like now. You don't see directors usually going. Not presents like you see directors.
You still see presents. Eli Roth presents movies all the time, and
not anymore. He doesn't. That motherfucker fell off the face of the earth after
James Wan presents like all movies in the Insidious like world still, and
and it happens, but I don't think Quentin Tarantino does.
Does. Peter Jackson does. I've thought Fuck, I hate when that happens too. When you look at the top and you don't read the small print and of a poster and it says presented by, but then the director underneath it is who actually did it is tiny. I'm like, well, what the fuck? Like you think it's from someone, but I guess
they do that. Yeah, they do that with producers a lot. Like I think of even things like that Devil movie that came out a few years ago. There was like M. Night Shyamalan presents, but he presented it. He did like produced it. He didn't direct
That's
that
movie that I thought he directed, but he didn't. Yeah, right.
Yeah, he produced it. So yeah, but the turkey, the movie, she throws him on the fire, and then there's a family like having Thanksgiving turkey the next day. And the turkey gets up to murder everybody, but it's like a cooked turkey at this point.
It's a cooked turkey, so it doesn't make any fucking sense.
It's
still talking.
Nothing in this movie makes sense, and it makes me so happy. But like, if you like schlocky and you could just go and like go along for a ride, this movie is so much fun. It is. I just love when a horror movie knows what it is and just embraces it, and I love
and it's
horror
only
comedy
10 minutes
because I think
longer than this right now. And speaking of Eli Roth, I want to see his Thanksgiving movie. That trailer in fucking Grindhouse was I think the most gnarly part of Grindhouse was Eli Roth's trailer for Thanksgiving.
It was it was like an old Grindhouse like type. It was like a slasher, right? Like a Pilgrim slasher.
And no, and then the family, the grandma was the turkey and on the table at
Oh
the
yeah.
end. Yeah, it was fucked.
But it wasn't someone dressed up as a pilgrim killing everyone?
I don't remember, but just that
I,
whole style. See, I fucking miss that time in like the trajectory of Quentin Tarantino and like Grindhouse being made, and just me being always into horror and seeing like huge names
yeah.
coming together, and then having a whole bunch of other like just that DIY aspect of Grindhouse as a whole, and all the other filmmakers that came together and made all those short trailers in the middle. That is the vibe in like just in general that I want so bad in like life, just with everything I do. That movie, like the collaboration that happened with it, it's a whole bunch of people just loving horror and filmmaking, and you could tell how much fun everyone was having, and I wanted that to be a success so fucking bad, because that like, look at how fun that was, man. Fuck.
Yeah, it's so funny, and like I was so upset when that movie came out on DVD after it, and it was just like it got 2 separate DVD
I
releases.
know, man. I bought all the releases of it, like
I had them both,
together.
and then I finally got the Blu-ray, which was like the whole thing, like it was the whole 3 hour or whatever with the trailers in between. And man, that movie, I'm sorry, I feel like my wife hated Death Proof.
I love
thought
Death Proof.
Death Proof is like this weird like feminist, like woman empowering, like kick-ass movie, like where Quentin Tarantino like embraced the muscle car features, but also like the like final girl, like the strong women fighting back against someone that is like a horror kind of dude. And there's so much about that movie. I need to watch that again. It's been years at this point, but man, I love that movie.
So many. He is like, you can tell the influences in his movies, and they're all super old, like stuff that we'd never watched, and blah blah blah. And he was so enamored with like things as a kid that especially like the stunt cars and all that stuff. So he was like, I want to make sure that we're doing this and making it as visceral as possible. And like what's her name that does all the stunts in all his movies, getting the like lead in this was fucking great. She was amazing. Zoe Bell, I think.
The Aussie. Yeah,
she's fucking
the Aussie. That's
awesome.
That whole like Quentin Tarantino's a weird thing, and it's like I feel like it's getting more and more like it's harder to say in public, because like Quentin Tarantino has that thing where he writes the N-bomb a lot, which is like very touchy things these days. But man,
he gets
like
away with it.
I always just, his love of movies and his attention to detail, and his just like his willingness that doesn't happen all that often anymore to just embrace dialogue as a way to tell story, instead of just like action scenes and whatever and showing you everything. He just lets you sit there and like breathe in scenery and like breathe in everything. And it's just how he shoots movies is so awesome. And he just uses the best actors. And he's just, man, he does so much to like about him, and so much how he does movies. And
I
still want to see
when, like, I appreciate that as well. And I've heard people just bash the shit out of like his insanely long scenes, like the one that pretty much won what's his name, that Oscar in
Leonardo, the glass scene where he breaks it in Django Unchained.
Not Django, the other war movie.
Oh, Inglourious Bastards?
Yeah, and he's the beginning scene where it's just like him and the people are like under the floorboards, like waiting.
Oh,
He knows they're there. Like I've watched like breakdowns of that, because it's like 30 minutes. That whole scene is like 30 minutes, and it's just, which is insane. There's not a lot that goes on, and there's so much fucking dialogue, and there's not a lot of like camera changes or anything, but like seeing and watching like breakdowns of like scene breakdowns, or what the fuck are those called, like
director
essays,
comment, like
they're like essays,
director commentaries.
Well, not director commentaries. They're like YouTube videos where people like super deep dive into movies and all. It's like, I don't know. I'm enthralled with that type of like thinking about movies and scenes, and it's like it's going into the like science and why the camera moved here, and Quentin is like on a whole nother higher level of like understanding where an audience is and where he wants you to be, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of Thankskilling to the masters of filmmaking.
It's just, again, there's a reoccurring theme here with you and I. It's just we love movies, and you get back to things and movies. You can translate. But yeah, I feel like I can watch this movie every year at Thanksgiving time because it's so short. Like you said, it's like 80 minutes, and like there's no like dead scenes at all. Like everything is like transitioning to this and that, and you setting up the turkey, fucking more shit up, and just like and being hysterical and just being like the it's
best
amazing
part
that
for
you
me
can
about this movie was like when I told you my wife checked out, like she's on her phone. She completely checked out at that point. She was just like there for like the highlights of how fucking ridiculous the movie was at that point. But the best part for me was every time something more and more ridiculous would happen, her judging eyes on me loving and laughing at it was the fucking best. Just like more and more judging eyes, because I was, because there's no way you can like this shit. Are you kidding? Yeah. How can you like? No, you have to like this. It is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it's just funny, man. It's I don't know. I know plenty of women like stupid comedy, but I feel like if you had 10 men and 10 women, I bet more men are gonna like this movie than women. Like,
well, yes,
I don't know. Again, like I talked, Scream Queens did this movie this week too, and they love it. So it's like it's not like it's all that, but it's funny because
also,
I feel
they love horror, right? So if you love horror and you get it, like. It's a thing. I heard a statistic or something, not a statistic, or they did like a study, and it's like people that can find the humor in the room are a higher, like they're a smarter person or something, because they can understand comedy on a different level or whatever than like. So literally, if you don't understand this type of comedy and you can't get into it, you're fucking stupid. That's what it means, okay?
Josh just called his wife fucking stupid, and my wife too. She didn't know no part of it.
No, I'm saying
we'll keep that
university study that said if you don't like this shit, just know that you're stupid, okay?
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, we don't mean
smarter. I mean, we mean that wholeheartedly, but no, no. This movie is wonderful, and if you like this podcast and the kind of movies we talk about, you would enjoy it probably, I bet. It's been on Amazon Prime forever, so if you want to check it out, I would highly suggest it because it is a fucking
Amazon
hysterical
Prime.
Romp. Yep.
They got some fun,
motherfucker.
Dude, Amazon Prime, and this is what I'm liking about having subscriptions in a whole bunch of different places too, because like right now, just like companies that have their own networks are fighting hard right now for the rights to their own shit. Well, they're all like fighting to create original content and also get random shit like this, right? So like Amazon has a really good procuring team. Whoever's out there like getting the most random shit that they get on there is doing a really good job. Like over and above other platforms. Like I don't know, like they got some really cool horror shit on there.
I always laugh, and I think I've said this before, maybe not here, but I've said it before on something. I always laugh because Amazon putting their logo on things makes it look like a direct-to-DVD cover for a lot of these movies, and I'm like, for the longest time I didn't even give these movies chances, and then I'm like, oh fuck. And you're missing some really insane things on Amazon, and
they're all taking over the Netflix. Well, Netflix started it all, but as soon as like Apple and Disney and like the big players in the game are coming out and they're like, oh shit, we have to make all our own original content and put our logo on the poster like that. It's a trend now. Like you know what you're getting now. It's like it's just one tier below theater grade production because of whatever, because it's going to that platform. So that's like, but it's all very well done across the board. Like everyone has a lot of money going into this.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with, like, as I'm hearing about Wonder Woman coming on Christmas, like, and paying $13 on HBO Max for it, so and like stuff like that, and you're sitting and going,
so does HBO?
Man,
what is the? I want to know what or how that all works. Who owns HBO and DC? Like, what's because like everything DC goes to HBO, but like
it's all owned by AT&T.
Okay.
AT&T owns like everything, including like DC. So cool. Like,
because
they're
Disney
like the ones on top.
Owns Marvel and shit. So like,
yeah, it's all owned by AT&T, which has been a big old thing in comics like for the last couple of years, and like that DC's been rumored to like be pulling out their comic distribution, and like their like actual like printing of physical comics.
Fuck.
And so that's been
what
a big
I heard
thing,
too.
And
it could die. Comics could literally die, and that's like super scary to me.
It's funny because they built up all these universes, and like Marvel's making so much money, but physical comics themselves have, ever since like they crashed in the 90s, have been real. Like it's been like they make all their money off of the actual movies at this point. I mean, the crash in the 90s is why Marvel sold Spider-Man and Fantastic Four and all the characters they sold
for $1 million just to keep Marvel open.
Yeah, and they've gotten them all back besides Spider-Man, but they'll never get Spider-Man back. Like
he's worth
Sony
billions.
Yeah. They've gotten everything back. They got fantastic. I mean, they paid how many billions for Fox just to get Fantastic Four and to get like
X-Men and shit.
All those
still.
Yeah,
X-Men. Huge. So X-Men's huge to have back, man. There's way too many awesome characters, and to see, I just want to see Deadpool and Wolverine in a movie together. I hope it actually happens, because especially like if anyone is gonna be able to get Hugh Jackman back, it will be Ryan Reynolds. So
no, it won't be Hugh. I don't want Hugh Jackman anymore. I want to. They're gonna have to reboot everything, and
Hugh, did you see how jacked he was, man? We're not even talking about horror anymore, man. But come on.
It's fine. We're talking about movies. It's all that really matters at this point. We love movies, dude. No, I don't think. I think Hugh Jackman's actually done with it, and I'm kind of excited because like I think Ryan Reynolds is the only thing that needs to stick around, and they're going to use him as a transition thing. And they've actually said they're making Deadpool 3 now, so
well, they have to.
It'll be interesting. Yeah. I mean, yeah. What's funny because Disney now has 20th century media, whatever they called, which is what Fox used to be, so that they could release their R-rated movies and do Deadpool and stuff like that. So that's what they're doing. They're supposedly rebooting.
They just have to figure it out, right?
Predator.
Because they own Alien and fucking Predator now. Like Disney owns too many R-rated properties that are huge franchises as well. But to be honest, Alien has been going way downhill with what they've been trying to do. I loved Prometheus, but the one after Prometheus. Wait, was it? I don't.
Dude, I hate Prometheus.
I liked it, man.
I think we've talked about it a little bit. I hate Prometheus because my favorite horror movie of all time is Alien, and Prometheus made me angry, and so it's one of those things.
Yeah, but
we could talk about that. We're talking about doing a bad sequel thing, so sometime we'll have you know what, you and I can probably spend a little time here in the next couple months and set that up, because December
we have so much. Like I am getting to know you and your movie knowledge as much as you know me, I guess. You know, like we're newer friends, and that's what I love about this as well, because we don't know everything about each other and stuff, so we're learning about each other from this. But like, we know a lot, and I think a good thing for our show would be to come up with more of those like list things that we put together, those special episodes, because I think we have a lot we've seen too fucking much, and I think we could make some more like top 5 style things to talk about as well.
Yeah. Well, let's kind of talk about it real quick before we get out of here. What we're gonna do for Christmas? Like, we got next week's episode is gonna be December. I have some movies I want to do, and we're doing a guest spot on another podcast this month.
Right. For which
but
movie?
the movies that we'll talk about that afterwards.
Okay.
That's we can't throw that one out. But for this month, there's the stuff I want to do. I want to do Better Watch Out. I want to watch Gremlins because I feel like none of the horror stuff I watch or listen to give Gremlins the credit it needs for being a horror Christmas movie. And I want to watch Silent Night because I've never seen the original Silent Night. So those are the things I'm thinking for December. In what your opinion on all that stuff? I know you said you. I think if we watch Better Watch Out, it might be a good thing for you for next week after the turkey incident.
Well, I love Better Watch Out. You said your wife, but we've already seen it. I want to try and keep watching movies that I haven't seen too, if we can. But
okay, that's fine too. I Christmas stuff is just what I was trying to aim at. Have you seen Silent Night? It's one of those like classic
Silent
like
Night, Deadly
movies
Night,
that like
or just Silent Night.
What?
Silent Night, Deadly Night, or just Silent Night?
Yeah, the Silent Night, Deadly Night, the original one. I haven't seen either one of them. The second one's pretty
infamous for being. There's a Silent Night that came out in 2012 that has like Santa with a fucking bazooka and shit.
No, there's one in the 80s. That was a remake of the original one. So.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've never seen those, and that's kind of one of those cult things that I would like to be. Do you wanna start
Let's
off Christmas?
I've never seen it either, man. I'm totally down to watch more like nostalgic, old ass like 80s, 70s movies that we haven't seen either. Well, like this is one of them for sure.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm good.
Isn't Deadly Night Part 2, Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, where he's Garbage Day? Isn't that what that's from? Fuck yes. I've seen the second one then. I haven't seen the first one, but I've seen the second one.
Yeah.
Garbage Day.
Okay, well then we'll start with Silent Night, and then you and I could throw shit off what we're going to do next, like the rest of the month. But I want to do that because I want to do Christmas movies because I like, and this is one of those movies. I'll let you know about the other one we're watching this month. So, okay, dude.
Sick.
I think it's about all for now, man. I gotta go get my eyes all dropped up because I'm still like recovering from the LASIK. But
can you see me?
I can see you, Josh, behind your lens flare. That's on your nose. Okay, well, everybody, we can be. Hello, we can be found.
I love movies. I love movies.
I love movies too, and I love you, Josh. We have murdermoose.com. So we have all that stuff there.
It works. It's up to date. It looks fantastic.
Josh fixed everything, so it's everything there. Moose Murder Pod is our Twitter, I think is what it is. And I'm Rod_Johnston on Twitter. You're Josh WRB on Twitter.
Everywhere.
But I think
look me up.
So
at me.
Well, Josh, you don't have Thanksgiving tomorrow, but us Americans do. So I wish you a happy,
buddy. Thanksgiving it was at my birthday, like it is every year, or not every year, but pretty close.
Well, I love your face, buddy. So I will see you soon for Silent Night, Deadly Night. We'll talk about that next week. So
sounds good.
Okay, buddy. Have a good night, and I love your face.
Bye.
Bye.